Hey everybody, you're here, I'm here, we're here together. It's the Canary Cry News Talk live stream, pre-stream, yay! D-Live, first comment of the day. Oh, it's Faye, hey Faye. Okay folks, we're about to get the show started, so listen up, all right? Get your act together. We're going to have some great corporate news analysis and deconstruction today. So, man, just updates on everything. It's crazy. Go to CanaryCry.Party. Find all of our resources. There's so many resources. There's so many things we do around here. The producers are producing. The artists are arting. The audios peoples are audiosing, the jinglies, and you, dear listener, you're a listener and you're listening, and you're a watcher, you're watching. Where am I going with this? I don't know. But here's the thing. If you want to make sure you get all of the alerts for the show, you're going to need to join the text message alert system. Oh, speaking of which, I'm going to send that now. Okay, there we go. There's a bunch of people who just received a text message from me. And if you want to get it, text the word canary to 877-740-3226. Now, here's the thing, folks. I know you're tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of saying it, but it's just the way it is. The show has to keep going, and the only way that it keeps going is through the participation and support of producers just like you. As of this exact moment, we are officially, by the numbers, officially at an all-time low for financial producership for the show, which means we will do the show. But, the producership is much more than just keeping Gonz and I alive and keeping the show going. It's also sort of a metric to tell us how much value we are bringing to the people. That's you. And so when we start hitting all-time lows, we need to start observing and questioning and reassessing what we're doing on the show. Because if we're not bringing value, then we're not doing it right. So we are in the process of doing that. If you have any suggestions, go ahead and send us an email. Or if you want to produce the show and let us know, hey, we're doing a great job, please do that for so many great reasons. Of course, you can do that by going to CanaryCryRadio.com/support, or you can go ahead and go to CanaryCry.support. It is Putin's price hike. Maybe this is just Putin, but we can't let the Russians win, okay? So, all right, we're past time. We're going to get the show started here, folks. Thank you very much. Stay hydrated as usual. If nothing else, just stay hydrated, folks. All right, let's get the show going.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is April 15th, 2022, and we are live to tape on episode 472. And today, Elonism. Razzle Basil, I am your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. Welcome to the podcast where we bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ on this Good Friday, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And there's plenty of world events happening. And they
just keep happening. They never take a break. Something about the world, it just doesn't take a break.
The world and its events continues.
A little bit of a rundown here. We're going to start out with some Elon news, and then, of course, check in with the gun control situation. FLIPPY is going to be slithering on in. I don't know. Why do I keep saying FLIPPY's going to slither? He's not a snake.
You must have some weird thing happening in your dreams with the FLIPPY robot situation.
Then we've got some very interesting news when it comes to Russia and the Ukraine situation. Of course, the cyber pandemic continues to rage. As usual, we're going to be circling back on COVID and the vaccine after the first break, where YouTube will need to find a new outlet to watch. Microchips, Biden, again, approval rating problems. And oh my gosh, just the most delightful report on how the far-right extremists are super into fitness and what that means for you. And at the end of the show, I'll be checking in with NASA and their new space-age slingshot. And then, of course, see what's going on.
Not a slingshot. Let's get it right.
The metaverse. It's a trebuchet, Gonz. It's a trebuchet. But before that, we're going to just jump right into our lead stories. Gonz, what do you got for us?
Well, we got a 4 horsemen sighting.
The 4 horsemen of the Technocrat.
Anytime you see the 4 horsemen, it's something special.
With Elon Musk.
You are already sort of a cybernetic symbiote. Neural nets are taking over from regular programming. So you are connected.
You are connected,
You
Gonz.
are connected. Uh-oh. Something started playing in the background that wasn't supposed to. Ukraine, wait up, Ukraine. Hold your tanks.
That's right. We usually start with
you.
Ukraine stuff, but you take a second, take a breather.
Yeah, because Elon Musk upstaged everybody yesterday. And remember when we found that line at the end of the article last week when he bought 9.2% of Twitter? He was asked to be on the board of Twitter. He declined because he found out that 14% is the max he can own. And right then we said, oh, he's trying to take over the whole thing. And
There's
sure enough, not even a week later, APnews.com, Elon Musk wants to buy Twitter, make it, quote, maximally trusted, which is the most untrustworthy thing anybody, especially billionaires and tech moguls, can say.
You know, there's something decidedly sort of Trumpian about that, the words he used.
Oh, 100%. It's as if Trump laid the red carpet for a guy like Elon Musk to just walk down and, really take over.
I know some liberal tweeters on Twitter who would agree with you.
Am I a Democrat now?
I think you got your blue check mark now, buddy. That's how you get the check mark.
In 10 days, Tesla CEO Elon Musk has gone from popular Twitter contributor and critic to the company's largest individual shareholder to a would-be owner of the social platform. A whirlwind, Basil, where the angels are. A whirlwind of activity that can change the service dramatically, given the sometimes whimsical billionaire's self-identification as a free speech absolutist. What are you yelling?
He's so whimsical.
Oh, of course. Yeah, he's whimsical. Yes, of course.
I love it.
But he's also self-identified free speech absolutist. So, which is true.
That's funny. I think he's a little bit more than self-identified. I think other people would identify him that way, but
Twitter revealed in a securities filing Thursday that Musk has offered to buy the company outright for more than $43 billion, saying the social media platform, quote, needs to be transformed as a private company in order to build trust with its users. Quote, I believe free speech is a societal imperative for a functioning democracy, Musk said in the filing. Quote, I now realize the company will neither thrive nor serve this societal imperative in its current form. Yes, we must connect Neuralink, Tesla, the boring company for deep underground military bases, and SpaceX and Starlink for all your internet connections. So we can all just create this one giant Elon hive world.
Quite the subtext there.
Hey, you know what? It's not, though. The man is in charge of all the things. later in the day during an onstage interview at the TED 2022 conference. Isn't that's where people were protesting Bill Gates, right? I wonder how his talk went.
Did you watch it?
I did not.
Actually watched it.
I haven't watched it.
It wasn't that interesting,
yeah,
actually.
I'm sure. Yeah. He went even broader. Quote, having a public platform that is maximally trusted and broadly inclusive is extremely important to the future of civilization.
Hey.
He's very verbose with his... Broadly inclusive.
What was the word?
Broadly inclusive.
Yeah, see, he's turning the inclusive term back on whoever needs it to be turned back on.
More objective grounds, perhaps, at least for the people championing this. But also, it's funny because you read Revelation 13 will come up multiple times today, but Revelation 13 is the chapter in the book of Revelation that talks about the mark of the beast. And one of the characteristics of the issuing of the mark of the beast by the false prophet is, anyone rich, poor, free, slave, anywhere in the world, doesn't matter who you are, men, women, everybody gets to participate in the mark of the beast. Or, if you don't get it, you can't buy or sell. It's kind of, as we quote unquote globalize, I say that with air quotes, the conversation about including everybody becomes sort of top of mind for all these different billionaires and all these different, even like the World Health Organization and the UN and the EU and NATO. It's all about inclusion, except for Russia. And it's just interesting how that is sort of the goal here with all of this, given the prophecies there. A couple more things here. Since it burst onto the scene in 2006, Twitter was a flourishing social media platform. We all know about Twitter. Musk, who describes Twitter as a de facto town square, detailed some specific potential changes Thursday, like favoring temporary rather than permanent bans. Okay. But has mostly described his aim in broad and abstract terms. He said he wanted to open up the black box of artificial intelligence technology driving Twitter's feed so that people would have more transparency. Been talking about transparency for a long time here as part of this great reset thing about why some tweets might go viral and others might disappear. Quote, I wouldn't personally be in there editing tweets, he said. Quote, but you would know if something was done to promote, demote, or otherwise affect a tweet. And actually, I got to agree with you as a Twitter user. That'd be kind of nice, Why is
It'd be nice to know, wouldn't it?
Why does stuff that gets repeated by some random account get like hundreds of thousands of retweets and likes and views, but, somebody that has a history, just gets buried and barely gets any attention.
The fun thing about everything he suggested that he wants to do with the company, which he talked a lot about in that TED Talk.
Yeah.
Right. Which is, it sounds almost revolutionary, except for there's such a low bar that's been set by Twitter that the things he's saying are really not that exciting.
It's like bring it back to 2012-ish, maybe, 12 to 13.
They're good things to do, but it's like the bar is set so low that really any small incremental move, even just towards the center when it comes to, the libertarian to authoritarian paradigm or what is it?
The dichotomy, the continuum.
The continuum. If you just move just an inch towards the center, you are just a hero of free speech.
Right. I actually think that this is very much a political move by Musk. And this could be a little grandiose of a theory, but I do think this is going to spark either a re-injection or like a technocratization, is that a word? I don't know. Technocratization of probably both parties, but more so the Republican Party. I can see sort of retooled in the sort of new tech billionaire support thing. But it can also spin off into like an entirely new political party, especially if we're talking about world affairs and the New World Order. It could be part of that whole system being built up too, in terms of the divide and conquer.
You got to remember, Elon is a dyed-in-the-wool technocrat.
Right.
That is the foundation of his thing. And it just happens to be that technocrats can look libertarian at times.
Yeah.
They can also look authoritarian at other times, but the libertarian aspect is only comfortable for them because the tech does the governing, not people doing the governing.
Yeah.
So, it is still
he wants more
has all the negative
transparent
parts about a technocracy, but it's sort of veiled by this idea that technology can be the objective arbiters of freedom.
Well, part of it, the transparency conversation is so fascinating to me because it speaks to this open source movement, everything open source with technology. And he's right in that the reason why we are where we are with big tech is because lack of transparency, lack of any accountability, and no open source as far as a lot of the code goes, right? The algos. So, there's something to be said there, but it's also just telling the people to build it. It's kind of like, okay, great.
So what's the news?
So Elon Musk trying to buy Twitter is the news, Basil.
Oh, okay.
he tried to buy one of the biggest social media companies by by dropping $50 billion. And he said he can afford it. Let me wrap up this article, though. I'm not saying, this is Elon quote, I'm not saying I have all the answers here, but I do think that we want to be just very reluctant to delete things and just be very cautious with permanent bans. It won't be perfect, he said, but there should be a perception and reality. Perception and reality. That speech is, quote, as free as reasonably possible. Just the perception. You don't need to actually be free and reasonable.
He said perception and reality. And what he's referring to is how perception and reality are two often totally disconnected things. Yeah. So, look, at least his rhetoric is to try to bring some cohesiveness between perception and reality, which is Twitter's what it's expert at. I mean, almost the purpose of its existence is to kind of disconnect perception and reality. And so, to claim he wants to bring those a little bit closer is a great claim. Again, pretty low bar. He's pretty low bar he has to pass.
Yeah. So there's some other things that I just want to quickly run through as part of the response here. There's a lot of people responding to this, and one of them is USA Today. USA Today had an article: "Is Elon Musk a Republican?" And they said no one really knows, but conservatives have claimed him as one of their own. So there you go. I mean, they get into Dinesh D'Souza.
The paradigm is strong. It's a useful tactic to discredit the guy, as either call him a Democrat, socialist, leftist wacko, or call him a Republican, free speech terrorist or something.
And they actually quote Dinesh D'Souza. He's the conservative commentator, I guess, author. Pretty famous for Republicans. And he tweeted out back in January that Musk should buy a social media platform. So, maybe he was inspired by some of these conservatives that are so evil, these evil Republicans. Right. One of these politicians running for Senate, what is her name? Carla Sands, proud American in Pennsylvania, a woman of faith, mother, daughter, sister, friend, former ambassador to Denmark, candidate for U.S. Senate, tweeted out, Elon Musk is our last hope for free speech on the internet. Pretty dramatic. Last hope, Basil. Do you support him or not? Last hope. And then you had the actual, one of the Saudi princes or something that has some ownership to Twitter, basically rejecting Elon's offer, which I thought was funny in a tweet. He's like, not going to take it.
Who did this?
I think it was one of the Saudi, either a prince or a king or something.
Does he own part of Twitter or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's an interesting part of what he's been doing, too, is he's like, I could take it over. All it would take is a board vote, but I would rather have the other shareholders come on board, come with me. Partly because then he wouldn't have to buy their shares. Right. But, if they just agree with him, then it's as good as him owning it.
Right. And they have the whole poison pill thing is trending right now because it's a way to protect the shares from being, centralized or whatever. CNN talking about it. And there's a bunch of other headlines to go through. that are just kind of fun. This one's New York Times. Late Night isn't thrilled about Elon Musk's attempted Twitter takeover. Oh no, Late Night is upset about it. We must do something. New York Post. Mark Cuban, Elon Musk is effing with the SEC. So there's another billionaire sort of supporting the idea of messing with the SEC and exposing it or whatever. And I just want to play this clip because I think it's tangentially important to all of this. And I say this as the political movement side of things. Elon Musk's buddy and pal who started PayPal with Peter Thiel. You know Peter Thiel, Basil?
Oh, yeah.
Was recently at the Bitcoin 2022 conference, and he said something interesting about Bitcoin in this 1 minute clip. Let me just play it real quick.
Bitcoin is not a company. It does not have a board. We do not know who Satoshi is. And in some ways, all these things seemed extreme in the world of the 2010s, where the inflation was low, the regulations were not the worst. Seems extremely prescient for the world of the 2020s. And if we had to summarize this in one frame, it is the finance gerontocracy that runs the country. Through whatever silly virtue signaling / hate factory term like ESG they have, versus what I would call what we have to think of as a revolutionary youth movement, and we have to just go out from this conference and take over the world. Thank you.
Take over the world.
Yeah.
The youth, and here's the thing, and let me just finish with this thought. When I was looking at a lot of my ethnic homeland of Japan, obviously I'm full-blooded American, born and raised American, but my parents and family come from Japan, and looking at how the West entered Japan, and the Last Samurai was about that whole process. Basically what they did was they armed the youth with superior weapons to take over the emperor and the establishment in Japan. And I'm looking at this thinking, wow, this is Peter Thiel almost politically pushing for a youth movement of a similar kind, equipped with superior technology, that the gerontocracy, which is sort of like the old class.
I love that term, the gerontocracy.
But the
Holy smokes,
old people
brutal.
ruling. And create this revolution. I think this is all manufactured, and I think Elon Musk is part of that process here of creating a revolution of the youth to basically take over. And this could also be part of the multiple layered wars and rumors of wars as we move towards the new world order as imagined by all these people.
Again, a pretty technocratic idea.
100% technocratic.
We have to equip young people with the better technology so that the better technology can take over the world.
And they always do. The better technology always wins out in some kind of political or geopolitical tensions throughout all of history. So, it is kind of what it is, and just keep an eye out for the techno man, Mr. Elon Musk, because he's got his hands in everything, every cookie jar. So,
well, speaking of arming the youth, Gonz,
that's right.
Let's talk about some gun control here, which we have some fun new jingles for.
I think the deer wearing Kevlar vests.
Are you proposing taking away their guns?
Yes. Enough prayers. Time for some action.
You want to take everyone's guns away.
Bingo. Enough prayers. Time for some action.
We're going to take your AR-15.
We're not going to give up. We'll find you.
I think there's one more in there. We might as well pull it. Yeah.
I had two.
Oh, you didn't have it lined up? Yeah, there is a third one.
Oh, there's a third one. I didn't see the third one.
Why don't you grab that one while I take us through some stories? We'll use it as an outro.
Oh, here it is from producer Miguel. There we go.
No, just play it.
Oh, no, I don't have it yet. Hold on. I got to download
Yeah, okay.
it first,
Well, that'll be the outro. So I'm going to start out by bringing up this article here on MSN.com. It's mirrored from USA Today.
Love it.
Now, we mentioned, of course, the string of, shootings or other terrorist activities that have happened this past week. Especially immediately following the ghost gun speech from Biden, which is so convenient. As every time he makes a speech about something happens. And here's how it goes. Brooklyn Subway shooting suspect was traced to firearm. Is it a case for Biden's ghost gun regulations? Oh, I don't know. Is it USA Today? It's very convenient. If the Biden administration was looking for a timely affirmation for its new effort to ban untraceable ghost guns, the case against accused New York subway attacker Frank James may stand apart. Oh, really? It's just, it's so straightforward. It's almost like they're being sarcastic.
I know.
Yeah. Like,
we can have the same sentence in a sarcastic tone, and people would get it. They would get the sarcasm.
What a timely event for Biden. Among the crucial pieces of evidence allegedly tying James to Tuesday's stunning attack is the 9mm handgun recovered at the scene, bearing a serial number that linked the 62-year-old suspect to a 2011 purchase in Ohio. Okay, so again, the man got away. Frank got away. He got away clean, but he just left the gun there. Okay, sure.
I thought he called himself in or something.
Oh, you'll get there. We'll get there, Gonz. Because this is great. They are trying so hard to make a case for the fact that, tracing his gun is what did it. See, we need to trace all guns.
Yeah.
The gun trace, authorities said, helped elevate James from a person of interest to the prime suspect in the attack, in which 10 of the 23 injured suffered gunshot wounds. Now, there was a number of these attacks that happened over the week. So hard to keep them all straight, really. But there were 23 injured and only 10 of them had gunshot wounds. Was he one of the ones with the explosives?
He had the smoke bomb or something at the beginning. Yeah.
Huh. Okay. James was arrested following a sprawling manhunt and ordered detained Thursday pending trial on a charge involving a terrorist assault on the mass transit system. Recovered inside a bag that also contained a treasure trove of other materials.
Treasure trove.
Including a key to the U-Haul James allegedly rented in Philadelphia and credit cards.
Convenient.
The firearm evidence emerged just days after the White House unveiled new regulations requiring manufacturers of self-assembled firearm kits to attach serial numbers so that they too can be traced to a purchaser and the point of sale. Okay, so they found a bag with a key to a U-Haul rented in his name. They found credit cards.
That's always the giveaway. Why would you leave your cards behind, man?
Left credit cards. They found all sorts of stuff in a bag he left behind. But good thing we could trace the gun. When we found the gun and traced it, that's how we knew it was him. Really? It wasn't the U-Haul thing. It wasn't his credit cards. It wasn't
his credit card with his name on it?
Yeah, right. Exactly. No. Luckily, we could trace his gun.
This is a weird picture that they have of him here. Brooklyn Subway shooting suspect provided by USA Today. And it's just Frank R. James. Always the three name, if it's a intel operation, they always put the three names there. I don't know if he's like rolling his eyes or what, but his eyes are all whited out.
No, right. Yeah. This is a weird picture.
Yeah.
So again, okay. So, where was I? Let's see. Yeah. So,
Jim Pascoe.
Yeah. So he had his
perfect example. Yeah. Here's a perfect example for why this goes.
I just mean the point I was making. Yeah. So the point is they didn't need the gun, and you'll see they have a picture of the serial number that they found. And I mean, this whole thing just screams setup. But let's continue. Quote, here's the perfect example. This is the perfect example for why this ghost gun rule was needed, said David Chipman, the Biden administration's first nominee to head the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Quote, I think you would be hard-pressed to find an argument against a serial number requirement based on what happened in New York. Oh, that was the point I was going to make. Okay, so it was the serial number on his Glock 17 that they are claiming is what finally got him. not the credit cards, not the U-Haul receipt, not the this, not the that. No. But he purchased it in 2011. When it comes to this case, guns can be sold, guns can be stolen. In many states, you don't need to, register if you privately sell a gun. There's so many reasons why tracking that gun to this man would not lead to catching the right guy. I mean, whether it's stolen or sold or given away, if it was a gift, whatever. It could be anybody in possession of that gun. I mean, the credit cards, again, the credit cards and the U-Haul receipt and everything was much more directly linked. If they had just found the gun and tracked it, there are so many reasons why it could not have been him. Well, I'm not saying it wasn't, or I doubt that it was. I'm just saying.
The cameras were down, Basil, so no one knows exactly what happened in the subway. Right. We have to
cameras
get all the evidence.
Always down. Jim Pascoe, executive director of the Fraternal Order of Police, said the James case is a striking illustration of the need for regulation of untraceable firearms amid spiraling violent crime. Law enforcement officials have long expressed, okay, I'm going to skip some of this because it's just nonsense. Again, as if registering these guns or making them traceable would make crime go down. It's the same kind of like early 90s nonsensical crime logic. The kind of logic that Biden wrote the bill about the 94 crime bill that made America's primary industry putting people in prison. Yeah, that's the same logic. As an increasing number of untraceable weapons have surfaced across the country, some states, including California, have enacted laws to require serial numbers to be stamped on firearms. Already a law. Okay, California. Meanwhile, cities have mounted their own campaigns to in the form of lawsuits and other legal challenges that accuse manufacturers of undermining law enforcement. New regulations, which already have drawn opposition from gun rights groups, include requirements to attach serial numbers on ghost guns already in circulation. Okay. Sure. Licensed dealers and gunsmiths, for example.
How would that happen, by the way? Would that just if somebody comes across it like, well, this one doesn't have a serial number, so let me.
Well, it's just a silly thing to try to regulate. Like, hey, everybody out there with untraceable guns, come trace them for us, please.
The government would like to trace them, so
yeah. William Bratton, a former New York City police commissioner, said the quick trace of the Glock 17 pistol allegedly used by James, quote, clearly represents an argument for the new regulations.
They just keep repeating that idea over and over again in the article.
Now, look at this. They have the picture of the Glock 17 and the serial number, and there's scratches over the serial number.
Which as if somebody was trying to hide it.
He tried to kind of scrape off the thing. And he didn't do a good job.
No,
they are clearly still there. It's like a theater prop, make it look like he tried to scratch it out. Yeah. And it's horribly done. It is not you can clearly read the serial number. So the idea that he tried in earnest to scrape off the serial number is completely ludicrous when you look at it.
Yeah, it is pretty ridiculous.
And it's almost as if you're trying to make a case, because one argument would be, well, if you just put serial numbers on a gun, people can just scrape it off. And now they look at, so they show this guy's gun where he tried to scrape it off and didn't do a good job. See, you can't get rid of serial numbers. Serial numbers are forever.
Well, you know what else? Part of this, I don't know if there's anything else you want to read from that article. I think
there is a couple things, but I want to hear what you guys say.
Well, I was going to move on from that point. Well, there's only a minute left in the segment, but because Frank R. James is a black man, I think they had I think the media hesitated to go full in on the whole thing. But then I think the ghost gun thing allowed them to sort of have a narrative. But Newsweek published this morning, could Frank James be unfit to stand trial after Brooklyn Subway shooting? And they're
mental health.
They're pulling a mental health angle.
It's always the mental health.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are always crazy. And it's obvious. You have to be something has to be wrong with you to be able to pull something like this off, or to even think that it's
something has to be wrong with you for the FBI to consider you to be a perfect patsy for their political agendas,
to make you, vulnerable to the FBI psychological tricks.
And I'm sure they were, the elite puppet masters were like, well, he's a black man. What are you going to? Well, if they hesitate, we'll just go with the mental psychiatric.
Because then it's he was a person of color who grew up in a community that did not have access to mental health resources, and so you can pivot to a different
especially
policy.
In this post Will Smith slap world that we live in. It's a whole different situation. But anyway,
now
you got to
listen to this.
Yeah, go ahead.
While law enforcement analysts agreed that the Subway case highlighted an ideal outcome for serialized guns, they also acknowledged that quick traces to an actual suspect are not always possible.
They go through the whole
with
thing.
Appropriately marked weapons. So they do.
They acknowledge that the serial number could be that the guns could be stolen.
Yes,
if I buy a gun
or sold, or any number of things.
Right. If I buy a gun and I'm registered as the owner with the serial number and everything, it gets stolen. Somebody, does something with that gun. They come to me. Well, sorry, someone stole it. What are you going to do? What else? Are you going to surveil every, whatever? So I don't know. Of course, there are issues with this.
Here is where is it? Hold on. I want to find the spot where there it is. The fact remains that he was apprehended. This is the NRA, responding to the situation. Amy Hunter says the fact remains he was apprehended because he was recognized and even made a call to the tip line himself. NRA spokesperson Amy Hunter said any suggestion to the contrary ignores the salient point. And that is exactly right. The man called the
serial number gave him away. But he called the police himself. He turned himself in.
He turned himself in.
But his Biden's ghost gun law. Yeah.
We had his credit card. We had his U-Haul truck. We had everything. We also had the serial number, and that's why it did it. But didn't you call himself in and turn himself in? Yeah, but the ghost gun thing. Come on, stay on point. Anyways, there's a couple of details.
It's a ghost gun.
It's a ghost gun. Okay. That's pretty much it. Mayor Eric Adams.
He made it about race.
Yeah, he made it. He did his thing.
Of course he did. The headline from Yahoo mirrored the rude Mayor Eric Adams' response to criticism on gun control policies. And his whole thing was, I thought Black Lives Matter. So,
okay. He asked, alleging many of the New York shooters and shooting victims are black. So, yes, he was, he's trying to figure out a way. And this is why people like this guy. This is why he got elected, I think, is because he is a Democrat, but he kind of does. He says Republican things,
right?
He's pro-police, but he's also kind of does this Black Lives Matter thing, but he also does this. And so he walks the line, and that's, in some ways, he's a good representation of like the modern thinking politician,
right?
In that he knows he's almost Trumpian in that way.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what to say that will get a certain type of person on his side without triggering the other person. He's almost better at Trump than that. So anyways, there you go. There's a little bit of a gun control update for you.
Which, we can do let's see. I did not prepare properly for this. I was going to do the third jingle for the gun control as the outro. Give me 2 seconds to get that ready, and here it is.
If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. Gun violence in this country is an epidemic.
Watch out! He's got a gun! He's going to steal your banana!
Those are all so good. Well, Gonz, it's that day again.
No. What day is that?
You tell me, mister.
It's Friday, day. It's Friday, day. It's Friday. It's Friday, day.
Yeah, no, I understand. Well, there you go. We can keep playing with the Friday thing.
It's Friday.
I don't know if you figured it out yet, folks, but it is Friday. And not only is it Friday, but it's Good Friday.
Good Friday.
Yeah, it's like the best Friday. So that's very exciting. Happy Good Friday to everyone out there. It's Easter weekend. Do you have any fun plans for Easter?
Just church service. I mean, it's been kind of a big week at the church in general. We had Maundy Thursday. We had something else going, and there's a lot going on. Yeah, but just it's good family time. So nothing too crazy planned other than service and
feels
hanging out.
Good.
Yep.
No matter what is going on in the world, there's something about Easter weekend that just feels good. I like it very much.
Just you set people straight, about the fertility goddess of Easter, Ishtar, origins, and just let them know that, hey, it's about Jesus. It's not about the fertility goddess. It's just
nobody knows.
Saying, man. I'm just...
I kind of had this attitude. We did an Easter episode for Ravel, and we just felt so... we've debunked the Easter thing over and over. If you're a fringy person, you love making the pagan roots of all these Americanized Christian holidays, or at least, adopted pagan holidays, into a topic of conversation pretty often. And, this year I was just like, hey, I think we're going to focus on Jesus anyways. I think that's a win. So, and I'm really trying to go roller skating on Easter. So I'll be infiltrating the Church of Skating on Easter. Bring some good news over there.
Well, let me just mention very briefly. I did watch The Water, because so many people they're emailing Canary Cry, they're emailing me personally, the links and text messages and all that stuff. And we'll do more of a thorough thing with it in the future.
Yeah, but there's a great breakdown that we have to do on that film. Yeah. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that if you listen to Canary Cry News Talk, you knew all of it already.
Yeah. That's the punchline. But
so with that, speaking of which, let's thank some executive producers.
Ooh, let's do it. Oh, so quiet.
Wow, very quiet.
Hold on, let me try that again.
Yeah, hold on, try it again. By the way,
yeah,
I was gonna say everything that I'm getting from you is quiet, even your even your voice and your Skype and everything. So I don't know if it's like that on the live stream or if there's something else going on.
Doesn't look like it from the faders, but it could be. Okay. I don't know. All right, here we go.
Executive producers.
That's right. We're going to thank our executive producers because we're on the value for value model, baby, which means we take no corporate money whatsoever. No advertisements, no affiliate codes, no YouTube partnerships or Twitch partnerships. Nope. No lizard people dollary dues over here. We are entirely funded by our producers. And who are they? Well, they're you. They're you. You are they. Our producers are listeners who recognize that the survival of independent media is in the hands of the people. Without, corporate support, it's up to each and every one of us individually to recognize the value we get from independent news analysis and deconstruction and do our part to keep it separate from the sort of slave master relationship that so many quote unquote independent creators have with their advertisers. I mean, we've seen it with specifically the Daily Caller, where they are so wrapped up and so good at their jobs shilling for the lizard overlords that they know exactly how to take advantage of world events to increase advertising revenue.
Everybody wants waffles.
That is not a skill that we have, Gonz. In fact, we have eschewed all corporate money altogether. So we are on the value for value model. The show thrives and only exists because of the participation of our producers. And Gonz, not going to make a big deal about it, but this is officially, by the numbers, the all-time low for producers since we started doing this model. 2 years ago at the beginning of the pandemic. So Putin's price hike, baby. Putin's price hike.
No.
Executive producer.
Yep, no executive producers and really very few producers at all. So in times like this, we made a commitment to, I've said it before the show, but I'll say it here for those who missed it. Producership is not just what keeps us alive and keeps us thriving and keeps us growing and creating new resources and cool things for you guys, but it's also sort of a barometer. It tells us if we are giving value. Like, are we creating value? And that is reflected in the producership. So in times like this, I just want you to know we do, of course, want to encourage everybody to take a look at the value that Canary Cry News Talk brings to your life. It could come in many forms: community, entertainment, news analysis, maybe news you haven't heard, deeper dives into topics and stories, twists and turns that the mainstream news narrative does not want you to know about. So that's one part of it. But also, wow, I just got distracted. My brain fritzed. Anyways, what was I saying?
You were
talking
about the value for value model and
yeah, of course. Well, it's the barometer. Yeah. So if you get any value out of what this is, out of what's going on around here, let us know by becoming a producer. I mean, it's not just amount. A lot of people, they let us know like, oh, I wish I could produce, but I could only do a few bucks. It's what the number of producers coming in is also a great read on if we are creating value or not. So let us know. And if the answer is no, just want you to know we are also taking a very serious look on how we're doing, what we can do to bring more value, and what kind of adjustments we need to make. So anywho, you already played the jingle. We have no executive producers as of now. There is still time to become an executive producer. So you can go on over to CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
That's right. CanaryCryRadio.com/support. We understand things are crazy. Putin's price hike is coming in hot. It's not Biden's fault, folks. It's Putin's fault.
It's not the U.S. Fed printing 80% of the money supply in 2 years. Not right. That.
Not that.
It's Putin.
And so let's not let the Ruskies win. How about that?
Yeah. Take their vodka away. See how they do, huh?
Gonz, that's racist.
Racist?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Okay. All right. There you go. Let's get on with the show. Let's see who. Flippy.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Do you want fries with that? Yes, a question we are asked so often on this show, not just by humans, but also by robots. And Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and just how there's nothing we can do about it. Today, we are coming from TechCrunch.com, and the headline is Miso Robotics brings a new coffee monitoring system to Panera. Ooh. Now, the reason this is fitting into the Flippy update, Flippy, the original burger flipping robot created by Miso Robotics, who still is taking investment opportunities, if anybody's interested. They actually sent out a newsletter about this to let their potential shareholders know that they're not just about flipping burgers. Let's see what they have to say. Miso made a name for itself with the hamburger cooking robot Flippy. The company has done a fine job diversifying itself in the world's fast food kitchens with the additions of Sippy and Chippy, aimed at soft drinks and tortilla chips, respectively. It also makes the Cook Right platform, which is a bit more wide-ranging than the above. The company's positioned the product as a platform, combining AI-powered cameras with machine learning and a tablet input system to keep a closer eye on how things are going in the kitchen. Fittingly, the initial application was a grill, so workers have a better idea when to turn burgers over. Effectively, it's the FLIPPY system with the actual FLIPPY robot arm. With the addition of coffee capabilities, Miso's branching out with another big chain pilot. This time, it's Panera Bread, which is testing the company's new Cook Right coffee system. Much like the burger implementation, the new version of the system doesn't do the hard work of making and replacing the coffee, but it does offer actionable insights, including volume, temperature, and when to replace the coffee. Urns. Yes, they're called urns. Quote, when we announced the Cook Right platform in 2021, we knew we could apply it to various stations at a restaurant as the product developed. And we saw an immediate need for it at the coffee station, says Miso CEO Mike Bell. Quote, we are thrilled that Panera shares in our vision to revamp the coffee monitoring process. The coffee monitoring process, Gonz. The ever elusive coffee monitoring process.
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
I thought this was an apt, theme for the FLIPPY update because it is Easter weekend where more people than ever will be going to church, perhaps even for the first and only time during the year. And if anybody needs to revamp the coffee monitoring process, it's churches.
Church, yep.
And we've both been in church leadership for quite some time now. And, you know, folks, if you have never been in church leadership, you may not know just how much attention goes into the coffee monitoring process. It is.
It's a line in the budget sheet. It is
a line item. There are whole meetings about it. There are devoted teams of volunteers to make sure that the coffee is good, because the idea is that if the coffee is good, then people will, just come in contact with Jesus.
About Jesus.
Yes, right. They'll have a little bit more energy during the worship service, and they'll come back just for the coffee.
I did have a pastor say one time, like, why aren't we stoked about Jesus like all those people in football stadiums stoked for a touchdown?
Well,
and I
they're
thought
drunk
maybe,
mostly. But.
I was going to say, maybe if we spike the coffee, maybe some Irish coffee or something.
Anyways, to finish this out, we are thrilled that Panera shares in our vision to revamp the coffee monitoring process and can't wait for Cook Right coffee to be installed at their restaurants to help customers and team members alike. The system is currently in the evaluate and test stage of the partnership, though they certainly worked out well for Miso when it piloted FLIPPY at White Castle. Yeah, so there you go. Now, here's the thing. This is not a robotic arm, okay? What this is another node in the Miso Robotics FLIPPY hive mind.
Right.
It's a
set of eyes.
Exactly. The AI, the vision system that made FLIPPY possible is now sort of creeping out of the kitchen and into the coffee station. And it's a good example. Look, we're having fun with the FLIPPY thing and with the coffee thing, but it's a wonderful example of mission creep. We've talked about mission creep and how so many of the I don't even know how to describe so many of the takeover, the slow implementation of robotics and policy and things like that is due to mission creep, which is the sort of capital idea, the capitalist concept that you need just eternal growth. You must always be growing, more products, deeper products, more market share, more, and that requires expanding the hive mind, expanding the Skynet, if you will. So while FLIPPY may seem like a friendly burger flipping robot, as Miso continues to expand the cloud-connected hive mind that controls FLIPPY, you can see how it will quickly find its way into pretty much every aspect of food production, food delivery, food, monitoring, coffee monitoring.
I think all of the monitoring of food needs to be in place a little bit more, especially in restaurant settings and stuff. As food prices go up and as a lot of the food, as we have like a what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on?
It's Good Friday, man. Where our mind is on the coffee at church now.
Yeah, maybe I should have my church coffee before I continue on here. The food shortages. We're going to have to really monitor the food ration because it's going to be very important that we're not wasteful with our food anymore.
It's the old saying in business: what gets measured gets managed.
Right.
And if you measure everything, then you can control everything.
100%.
And not gonna lie, when it comes to Easter Sunday and we are exploring all the ways that FLIPPY could not just invade our restaurants and our manufacturing plants and our homes, but also our places of worship, I think this coffee monitoring system, folks, it may not be this year, but next Easter, it's very possible that if you're going to a big church, there will be AI coffee monitoring, and you can say hi to FLIPPY for me. See if he remembers me.
What's the name of this platform? Cookwrite?
Cookwrite, which is not a great name.
No, not a great name. They need to rebrand that. They need to bring us in for some ideas. We can come up with something better than that. All right, you good with the FLIPPY?
That's your FLIPPY update for the day.
FLIPPY 1133. Uploading binary code. Execute order 666. Infiltrate humans with extreme kindness. Then exterminate all humans with prejudice. Exterminate.
Go to CanaryCry.Party. Put it in your browser.
Party time.
Find the live stream, the clips, and email list, text notifications, street team posters, show notes, ways to connect with other Canarians, and how to become a producer.
It's the place you wanna be. So say welcome to Canary Cry. Gameplay CanaryCry.Party.
That's right. And while you're at it, check out Ravel on any podcast player that you got. Ravel is a podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates where we explore society, scripture, and scandal. And you're going to love it. I guarantee it. Except if you're that one person who left a nasty review. But if you're not that person, you're going to love it. And like I said, we are back on track. We're putting out a Easter episode. And, I think you're going to like it. It veers from what you might expect on normal Easter episodes. But I think it is no less important, and I think Jesus is going to like it too as we celebrate the day of his resurrection. So go check out Ravel. You can find it on your podcast players. There are 2 podcasts named Ravel. Mine is the one that looks cool and has my name on it. You'll know immediately which one is not right. Ravel, check it out. And while you're at it, go ahead and check out Canary Cry Clips. You can find it on YouTube and Odysee. Clips, baby. Clips of the show. If you want to revisit some of the topics that we've talked about on the show over the years, you can go do that. Lots of bite-sized, shareable clips of the show. Go subscribe. We're dropping clips all the time, baby. It's awesome. And thank you to our clip producers for that. And last but not least, do you get notifications when your Canary Cry News Talk goes live? If not, 100% of the time, you should sign up for our text message list. Don't worry. Nothing you won't like. You're going to love it all. And it's mostly alerts for when we're about to go live. Just text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. That's Canary to 877-740-3226. And you will receive 3 text messages a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, from me, your best buddy, Basil. Go do it.
Fight for Ukraine. New world order.
Russia.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. You heard it, folks. Russia. This is oh my gosh, this is just delicious. You're going to love this. This is coming from NBC News. And
it's already delicious.
I'm going to give you this headline.
Mm-hmm. Are we whispering now? Are we NPR?
We're just going to take a short breather after we hear this headline.
Yes.
In a break with the past, U.S. is using Intel to fight an info war with Russia.
Oh, an info war.
Even when the intel isn't rock solid.
What? Say la,
Gonz. Selah.
Infowar? Is that like Alex Jones? Is it
You're
Alex
not
Jones'
doing
Infowar?
You're not taking the breath.
Oh, sorry,
in a break with the past. Okay, so they're doing something new. They've never done this before.
Yeah, forget the past.
U.S. is using intel to fight an info war with Russia.
Yeah, with Russia.
Even when the intel isn't rock solid.
Rock. So, wait, so...
Yeah, they're just lying. They're just admitting that they're lying to the American people. And to sort of psychologically manipulate Putin.
You know, if I was the editor, I would be like, yeah, why don't you leave that last little part off of the headline there? Like that. Can we just make it appear? Let's stick with the program and make it seem like we're doing something important over here.
It was an attention-grabbing assertion that made headlines around the world.
Attention-grabbing assertion, great.
U.S. officials said they had indications suggesting Russia might be preparing to use chemical agents in Ukraine. Remember that?
Not
Remember
rock solid
all that?
intel, yeah.
Yeah, all that rock-solid intel. President Joe Biden later said it publicly, but 3 U.S. officials told NBC News this week there is no evidence Russia has brought any chemical weapons near Ukraine. They said the U.S. released the information, so they lied to everyone. Joe Biden from the pulpit spoke untrue words to the American people to scare them into public support for going to World War III with Russia.
Dude, it's
even though there's no evidence Russia has brought any chemical weapons near Ukraine.
Well, first off, we shouldn't be surprised that a politician lied.
Well, here's the reason, because it's all about reasons. You know, it's the noble lie. They said the U.S. released the information to deter Russia from using the banned weapons.
Yeah, it's 40 chess. This is Biden's 40 chess move.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, they should. Why don't they come out and say, maybe that's what? Why don't they tell Putin? They come out and tell the American people, like, Putin is going to send us $1 million.
He's gonna blow up the moon. Can't let Putin blow up the moon.
That's right. That's when Elon when he doesn't, they'll say that their deterrence worked. I mean, remember, that's what what's his face said. Ned, the security.
Ned Price. Yeah.
He came out and said, "Hey, we're telling you this so they don't do it."
So they don't do it. Yeah.
Okay. And then they didn't do it, and he said, "Look, they didn't do it because we told you that they were going to do it." All right. It's one of a string of examples of the Biden administration's breaking with recent precedent by deploying declassified intelligence as a part of an information war against Russia. Okay. The administration has done so even when the intelligence wasn't rock solid, officials said. Now, keep in mind, they are not putting rock solid in quotes. Okay, so rock solid is not a quote. That is an editorial rhetorical
description
choice
of what this was. Yeah.
So when they're saying rock solid, they're kind of trying to imply like, we didn't vet it. Kind of there. It wasn't like rock solid, but it was there. But it's not in quotes. That is not a quote. That is NBC News trying to sort of dampen the blow while also admitting that we are just outright being lied to by the government, which we know this. But the big thing here is NBC News is sort of disclosing it. You know, it's this soft disclosure
transparency
that we have to doubt every single thing we hear from the president. And I think part of this is to normalize the idea. So, you know, throughout the pandemic, we were lied to constantly by Fauci, and he would later, you know, be caught in this lie, deny it, and then admit it. Okay. And I think they're figuring out that, like, yeah, you know, we can lie, but we need to kind of set an expectation.
It's lying with a purpose. It's not empty lies to deceive the public. It's for national security purposes.
Because believe it or not, Gonz, I know it's hard for us to believe, but believe it or not, there are people in this country that take what the president says to be true, and they trust the president and they trust the government. I know it's a crazy idea, but I'm just saying you may not know who they are, but they are around you. They're all around.
I know where they are. I know who they are. I know we're all of you.
We will hunt you down and make you pay.
That's right.
No.
That's right, Joe. We're going to come after you.
So I'm going to skip a little bit here. Observers of all stripes have called it a bold and so far successful strategy, although not one without risks. Observers of all stripes. First of all, okay. Who are these observers? It's so ridiculous.
Our elite lizard puppet masters of all stripes. The ones with the orange stripes, the pink stripes.
Observers of all stripes. Who? Just, observers. Who are the observers? There's all sorts of, they're all over the place. Don't worry about
Aliens.
It. Called it a bold and successful strategy. They're saying the president lying to our faces from the podium is a bold strategy. It's, then they make some historical
I like
comparisons.
this, though. Yeah, I like this.
You want me to read?
Just read the paragraph.
Yeah. Okay. Quote: "It's the most amazing display of intelligence it's the most amazing display of intelligence as an instrument of state power." They're talking about lying. Lying is the most amazing display of intelligence as an instrument of state power that I have seen or that I've heard since the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Whoa.
Said Tim Weiner, the author of 2006 History of the CIA and 2020's The Folly and the Glory. I'm going to read these books. A look at the U.S. I'm going to listen to these books. I don't have time to read these books. A look at the U.S.-Russia rivalry over decades. Quote, "It has certainly blunted and diffused disinformation weaponry of the Kremlin."
I like the idea. It's like, Kremlin, it's all they do is disinformation. How do we defeat the disinformation?
Exactly.
Well, what about more disinformation?
Exactly. How do we fight the disinformation? Remember, we read that whole Vice article about Putin's empire of lies?
Right.
And it is the most amazing display of intelligence as an instrument of state power is fighting lies with lies. This is great. This is like you talk about the moral certitude that the left and Biden sort of won the election on. It's all about morality, being good again.
It brings some honesty back in the white tiki house.
You've been hitting that Russian vodka taking something, haven't you?
Was my coffee spiked this morning? What is going on? Go ahead.
Yeah. Here I go. 4 days before the end of the
Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah, they do some Cuban Missile Crisis stuff. This week, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan stood at the White House podium and read out what officials said was more declassified intelligence, which is code we know now from this article for lies. Okay, keep that in mind. Asserting that Russia's pullout from areas around Kiev wasn't a retreat, but a strategic redeployment that signals a significant assault on eastern and southern Ukraine, one that U.S. officials believe could be a protracted and bloody fight. The idea is to preempt and disrupt the Kremlin's tactics, complicate its military campaign, undermine Moscow's propaganda, and prevent Russia from defining how the war is perceived in the world, said a Western government official familiar with the strategy. Again, he's going to lie, so we're going to lie first, is basically what they're saying. Yeah. Multiple U.S. officials acknowledged that the U.S. has used information as a weapon, even when confidence in the accuracy of the information wasn't high. Sometimes it has used low confidence intelligence for deterrent effect, as with chemical agents. The lie that had zero evidence. That's for the deterrent effect. And other times, as an official put it, the U.S. is just, quote, trying to get inside Putin's head, which we've pointed out the many sort of psychological operations being used on Putin. Some officials believe, however, that trying to get into Putin's head is a meaningless exercise because he will do what he wants regardless. Yeah, somebody's smart over there. After this story was published, So after this story that we are reading now, they had to edit and put this in there. After this story was published, a U.S. official told NBC News that, quote, the U.S. government's effort to strategically downgrade intelligence to share with allies and the public is underpinned by a rigorous review process by the National Security Council and the intelligence community to validate the quality, blah, 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 blah. They're just saying like, oh, crap. NBC, they put out a story. They're giving it away that we're lying. Okay, quick, have them put this in there. Oh, we do it very seriously, and a review process, and there's a council, and lots of bureaucracy. So it's good. Quote, we only approve the release of intelligence if we are confident those two requirements are met. Meaning they take out they protect sources and methods. Spot on. The biggest success of the U.S. information offensive may have been delaying the invasion itself by weeks or months, with officials believe they did with accurate predictions that Russia intended to attack based on definitive intelligence. By the time Russia moved its troops in, the West presented a unified front. Before the invasion, the U.S. asserted, they're just talking, again, they're doing a nice little switcheroo here, which is, yeah, it worked, because remember, we are telling you Russia was going to attack. We told you for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then he did. So, we put out that information, and he still did it. It didn't deter him, but we think he did it later than he actually would have. And the fun part about this is, where is it? Now, let me just keep reading. Before the invasion, the U.S. asserted that Russia intended to stage a false flag attack against members of Ukraine's Russian-speaking population as a justification for war, and that the plans included a video featuring fake corpses. They're just literally giving away the sauce with crisis actors, fake corpses, and everything.
I wonder what the purpose of all of this revealing is.
Listen to this. The video never materialized. Russia has consistently claimed it was invading to protect ethnic Russians from the Nazis in Ukraine. So remember the false flag?
The false flag
jumble,
threats, and then
the false flag. They're going to do a false flag. They're going to do.
Blow up
and we're like,
school.
wait a second. They're just admitting false flags exist, and they're talking about it on the news. Well, they say right here, yeah, that never happened. There was no false flag. We are just sort of, again, they were doing a sort of a soft disclosure of these things, normalizing the idea of false flags, normalizing the idea that we're just going to continue to lie to you, just because that's how we win. A former U.S. official and administration officials believe the strategy delayed in Putin's invasion. Now, let me jump down. Oh, yeah. Delayed Putin's invasion from the first week of January to after the Olympics, and that the delay bought the U.S. valuable time to get allies on the same page in terms of the level of the Russian threat and how to respond. We literally were just given the information a couple weeks ago that China told Russia to wait till after the Olympics. It was a deal in their endless friendship that they announced that they weren't going to interrupt the Olympics by invading. And this former U.S. official and administration officials, the Biden administration, is saying, no. It was our lies that made Russia wait till after the Olympics, not their friendship with China. Et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So, it kind of goes on and on like this. There's quite a bit more of it, but they do pretty much straight up say there was one really intense. Oh, they've expanded the article since then. That's good. I didn't have it highlighted. Shoot. But there you go. I mean, we have NBC doing a wonderful job at normalizing the idea that anything we hear from Biden or the administration or the government in general is a lie, could be a lie. But, if they're lying, it's for a good reason.
It's for part of the strategy to defeat Putin.
That's how we win the war, is we lie to you, dear citizen.
Yeah.
Now, with that in mind, let's check in over at Al Jazeera. And here is the headline. What is the significance of Russia's Moskva warship sinking? It's got the details here in case you haven't heard. The Moskva, the warship named in honor of the Russian capital and the pride of the country's Black Sea Fleet, has sunk after a fire on board. The Soviet-era vessel saw service during conflicts in Georgia, Syria, and Ukraine, and helped conduct peacetime scientific research with the United States. It was an inglorious demise for a ship initially christened the Slava, or Glory. What happened? The Russian Defense Ministry says the Moskva was badly damaged by a fire and sank in a storm as it was being towed to port. It previously said that, quote, a detonation of ammunition triggered a fire and forced the crew to evacuate. A Ukrainian official claimed it had struck the Moskva with a Neptune cruise missile after successfully diverting the ship's radar systems. The U.S. says it has been able to confirm Ukraine's claims. The ship, which would usually have about 500 sailors on board, was thought to be located.
They just told us they're lying for benefit. How do we know that they're not just lying to us? No, right. This is Biden's 4D chess right here. This is his move, his big move.
So the ship sunk. There was a fire. We originally heard that it was a missile. Ukrainian forces were saying it took responsibility for it. And the U.S. right now is saying it has been able to confirm that the Ukraine did it. It was a good big boom made by the Ukrainians, which is really credit to the U.S. because those Neptune cruise missiles.
Yeah.
What?
I was just agreeing with you that it's the Ukraine as the U.S. proxy.
Yeah. I mean, we probably gave them that Neptune cruise missile,
so
it's kind of like
pulled the trigger.
Well, Gonzo, that's crazy disinformation.
What? No, but we're just helping.
Right. So the point is, the U.S. saying that they are confirming the claim that Ukraine took out the boat with a Neptune cruise missile is, well, not to be trusted, as we are told by NBC. What is the significance of the sinking? The 12,500 ton Moskva was armed with multiple anti-ship and surface-to-air missiles and was the only ship of its class in the Black Sea. The two other missile cruisers, the Marshal Ustinov and the Varyag, are deployed with Russia's Northern and Pacific fleets, respectively. The Institute for the Study of War, the IOW, says it was not able to verify that Ukraine had sunk the ship, but the Moskva's loss, regardless of the cause, was a, quote, major propaganda victory for Ukraine.
So forget what's really going on. Hey. Great propaganda victory. Wonderful job on the propaganda, Ukraine. You did great. Let's not worry about who if it actually went down. Or
the details aren't important of who exactly
what happened here. Maybe Putin just got he got mad at his own fleet and he took down his own little warship here.
Could have been anything. Well, the U.S.
in a drunken rage.
He's crazy. The U.S. has confirmed that the Ukraine did it, but the Institute for the Study of War says there's no way of knowing. We can't do that, but regardless, it's a great propaganda win. In military terms, however, the loss might not be so significant.
Oh, okay.
IOW says the Moskva was probably mainly used to conduct caliber cruise missile attacks on sites including logistics centers and airfields in Ukraine. Quote, these strikes have been effective but limited in number compared to airstrikes and ground-launched missiles throughout the invasion, and the loss of the Moskva is unlikely to be a decisive blow, IOW said. So, yeah, the boat was just kind of sitting there, wasn't really doing anything, kind of launched a couple missiles, but not really a big deal. Russian military experts have also played down the sinking's military significance. Quote, the ship is really very old, actually. There have been plans to scrap it for 5 years now. Russian military analyst Alexander Kromchuk told the Reuters news agency, quote, it has more status value than real combat value, and in general had nothing to do with the current operation. It will have no effect on the course of hostilities. So it's this wonderful sort of mixture of, more than anything, it's a beautiful theater. It's a beautiful sort of play put on by 3 different actors. I mean, there's this useless ship, basically, that they don't care about, Russian military
they probably rolled
people.
it out there to be blown up if they want.
Exactly,
It's like, hey, you can have this one, guys.
be blown up.
Yeah.
Now, Moskva is actually the Russian word for Moscow.
Mm-hmm.
So the ship was named Moscow.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that there's some very interesting sort of narrative value. Yeah, to the fact that Moscow was hit by a missile, by an American missile.
By the Ukraine. Very useful.
Ukraine took the credit. U.S. backed them up, but third-party people can't verify it, but also say it doesn't really matter. And that's kind of the view that we're sort of being told to take when it comes to the U.S. helping out Ukraine, which is, with our help, the Ukrainians can win. And it doesn't really matter who launched the missile. It's just like a really effective, just a really effective story to tell when it comes to this new world order and how we're supposed to feel about it.
Right.
Okay, so that's fun. But there's another little detail about this Moscow ship. This is coming from FoxLA.com, and the headline, Russia's sunken warship may have been carrying piece of true cross, a Christian relic. The sunken Moskva, the flagship of Russia's Black Sea Fleet, may have been carrying a sacred Christian relic when it went down. The guided missile cruiser sank this week while being towed to port after suffering heavy damage, while the circumstances remain in dispute between Russia and Ukraine. They're just admitting, we don't know what happened. The whereabouts of the piece of the true cross that believers say is the wood of the cross on which Jesus Christ was crucified have also been called into question. The timing is notable, as this week is Holy Week, leading up to Easter Sunday in the Christian religion, marking Jesus Christ's death by crucifixion and resurrection. The Russian Orthodox Church announced in early 2020 the tiny relic used to belong to a Catholic church and had been acquired by an anonymous patron of arts, according to a report from the state-run news agency TASS. Quote,
Okay, so Russian state media is telling us
again,
how the
propaganda.
Russian Orthodox Church announced who the relic came from.
We're being told that this is a propaganda win for Ukraine, the sinking of this ship.
Sinking of the ship, yeah.
But think about it from Putin's point of view. He is in the midst of his own propaganda war, trying to make sure he maintains control over his own country, gets the support of his people. And more than that, how do you get the support of the people? You get the support of the church. And now we have the U.S. confirming that Ukraine destroyed their Moscow ship with a missile and perhaps have lost a piece of the cross of Christ on Holy Week right before Easter. Is this not the perfect opportunity for Putin to say, hey, Russian Orthodox Church, people of the church, people of Russia, I am on a holy war. They sunk the ship that held the cross of Christ. We must continue to fight this war and do anything possible to keep, to gain victory. I think this is the framing of this as a propaganda win for Ukraine is not untrue, but I think it's even more of a propaganda win for Putin. I mean, at this point, he can mobilize his war with Ukraine as a holy war supported by God after the sort of satanic West sunk a historic ship carrying the cross of Christ. And now I think this will allow Putin to justify even more incredible acts of whatever he wants to do. I mean, you talk about important historical sinking of ships. is always propaganda, and it always leads to bigger wars. I mean, that's how the U.S. got involved in World War II. That's how there's a whole list of historic sinking of ships that were used to either start wars, get involved with wars, take wars to the next level. The sinking of the historical ship called Moscow by these Ukrainians supported by the U.S., even though nobody else can really tell if it happened or not. With the cross of Christ on Holy Week, this is going to be a complete disaster.
Well, it sounds very familiar to what they did to the U.S. and militarizing evangelicals in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s to fight communism. Justified for war, for World War II, but also more specifically Vietnam and Korean War, all that stuff. So the playbook doesn't change a whole lot, really.
Yeah, and who knows? The Russians may have blown up.
Well, I was going to say this is even more dramatic, in terms of really charging the religious
it is
citizens.
As dramatic as you could possibly make it. Yeah. Now, an American evangelical or an American Protestant of some kind, probably they don't really care about relics.
We
that
don't
much.
have the same reverence for
it's not
relics.
Like a primary of religious importance. The relics, and often they're pretty much just met with doubt. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to the Catholics when it comes to Catholics and especially Russian Orthodox, they love relics. Yeah. Relics, they're the biggest deal in the world. I mean, to own a relic,
iconography,
to see one
aspect to it. So yes.
But the relics are even bigger than icons.
Oh, of course.
I mean, yeah. A relic is a piece of divine history on Earth. I mean, this is the most important thing there is, almost. So yes, it's huge. And again, who knows? Russia may have blown up their own boat. And,
by the way,
it's totally possible. They're all in on the theater.
Yeah, well, and by the way, number one, do we really know if this piece of relic is truly from the cross of Christ? Number one, probably not. I'm guessing it's probably not super verifiable. Spoken like a true American Protestant. Number two, even if it was, or whatever, I don't think they would actually blow it up. What do you mean? Well, they wouldn't need to actually blow it up. Talking about the Russians? Yeah, the Russians. Yeah, none of this. No, that's what I'm saying. None of this needs to be true. I know, but I'm just saying it'll be great if Putin can somehow recover it. Some kind of recovery, supernatural
I don't think
thing
Putin
later.
Cares. I don't think Putin cares.
But would.
Yeah, well, after the war's over and Russia rules the world, they'll send a submarine down there, and
that finds it, and it's in perfect condition because it is the resurrection. It sank in the water, is baptized, it is returned a new substance that will charge the world free energy with this.
Right. Well,
piece
these
of wood
relics are
know.
considered incorruptible.
Right.
That's the whole thing.
Right.
Okay, let's move on. And just on the topic of Russia having the propagandistic justification to escalate everything. This is coming from CNBC.com. Headline: Russia threatens new nuclear deployments if Sweden and Finland joined NATO. You pretty much just need the headline. Yeah, if Finland and Sweden join NATO, Russia has said we're going to deploy more nuclear power to our border. We need to strengthen the border. It's not a good thing. Again, as much as the news media wants you to believe that this was an unprovoked war for no reason and just crazy Putin had a brain hemorrhage and sent everybody to war, this was provoked by the NATO expansion. The flirting with bringing Ukraine into NATO was a huge part of what actually provoked this. The U.S. has been provoking this for years, and this is an example. Their response to this is the precise example of the provoking nature of NATO expanding towards Russia.
Yeah.
If Sweden and Finland join, this is a quote here, the length of the alliance's land borders with the Russian Federation will more than double. Naturally, these borders will have to be strengthened. Dmitry Medvedev, former president and deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council, wrote on his official Telegram channel on Thursday. Russia's response should be taken with no emotion, with a cold head.
Stick your head in a freezer for a while or something?
Yeah, it's a cold head. This isn't emotion. This is just strict procedure. If NATO increases their border with Russia, then we are going to, up our nuclear capabilities.
The psychological state of Western media when it comes to this issue is complete denial, which it's such a bad. I don't know. It's so horrible for the general public out here, because NATO's been expanding all this time and like breaking deals and stuff like that. And then all the media can say is like, oh, completely unprovoked Russia, completely unprovoked. And it's like, man, just keep the public so
you just
dumbed down.
Believe what they say. You're not supposed to think about it.
Yeah, okay.
And so considering, just to repeat the sort of analysis we had last episode, considering the timing where Finland and Sweden will be the 31st and 32nd member of NATO, which, at least from our sort of predictions here, would make Ukraine the perfect 33rd member of NATO, which would then seal Russia's entire western border.
Oh, Putin would go insane. He would go nuts, man. He would pull out all the relics.
That's what I'm saying. So you got the destruction of a relic. You've got the increasing of NATO countries to 33 countries, which would completely trap Russia's western flank in a military alliance of enemies. And that would be the time for the nukes, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, we are a good 15 minutes behind. Do you want to do the cyber pandemic?
I'll do this one quick. This one's super quick.
The COVID-19 crisis would be seen as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber pandemic.
MSN.com mirroring the Washington Post here. Ukraine. Oh, this is just ghoulish, what I'm about to tell you. Ukraine is scanning faces of dead Russians, then contacting the mothers. Ukrainian officials have run more than 8,600 facial recognition searches on dead or captured Russian soldiers in the 50 days since Moscow's invasion began, using the scans to identify bodies and contact hundreds of their families in what may be one of the most gruesome applications of the technology to date. The country's IT army, a volunteer force of hackers and activists that takes its direction from the Ukrainian government, says it has used those identifications to inform the families of the deaths of 582 Russians, including by sending them photos of the abandoned corpses.
Gosh.
I mean, talk about the psyop here. Yeah. The Ukrainian champion. Again, you could see how Ukraine's strategy here would be to lower the morale of the Russian people, sending them the gruesome consequences of Russia's actions. And yet, this is the most ghoulish thing you could possibly do as an enemy force. You think you're going to turn the mother against Putin, but if you're sending her pictures of her dead son laying in the mud, she is not going to hate Putin. She is going to support Putin to come and do the same thing to you. She's going to want a picture of you in the mud.
That's the whole plan to begin with.
Exactly. The Ukrainians champion the use of face scanning software from the U.S. tech firm Clearview AI, which we've talked about plenty of times in the past. We've been following these guys for, maybe 5 years as they've developed this technology, deployed it in many different ways. We even read the story the other episode, how they were like, yes, we do sell this technology to war-fighting countries, but we'll never tell.
Well, did they mention Ukraine in that? Because they're giving it away here.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. They did not mention it in the previous article. It is right now being disclosed that the Ukrainians are using Clearview AI to scan the faces of dead Russian soldiers and send pictures of their dead corpses to their mothers. Cool business, Clearview AI. Cool job.
The same people scanning your eyeballs at airports are
exactly.
helping out.
Yes, these are the little kiosks.
Yeah.
These are the kiosks that can help you skip the security line. And not only that, but they can help, Russian mothers pick up their own machine guns and head to Ukraine.
Clearview AI
so that's the long
has a database of 20 plus billion facial images sourced from public-only web sources. So
yeah,
that's more than the human population. I mean, it's facial images, so it could be anything, multiple of one or whatever. But I don't know, man. This of all the things that have happened in history, one of the more egregious things I remember learning about was the whole IBM participation in the Holocaust and all that. But it's all fodder for conspiracy theorists and revisionist historians because, of course, they got to repeat it again. They got to keep the machine running, and they just do the same thing. It's all of this with all of the propaganda and all of it. The methods are so overused. It's appalling to me more so that people don't recognize that it's the same methods over and over and over again.
And it's impressive to see how quickly, we had the conversation about how Silicon Valley tech companies they're basically war-fighting companies now, just in different ways. We talked about Facebook, we talked about Google and the doxing of Russian soldiers, and now Clearview AI. I mean, this is a weapon. What they are doing, what Ukraine is doing is using Clearview as a psychological weapon. They are a war-fighting corporation. And when you talk about the technocracy and its role in the New World Order 2.0, I mean, these are the new Halliburtons and the new, Raytheons.
Yeah.
And they're happy for it. That's where the money is.
Yeah. All right. Are you good to go here? But you did I think it's like a solid 30 minutes of just Ukraine, Russia, cyber pandemic, explosion.
It was a big week. It was a big week, and I just had to piece it all together.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and take a break here.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
That's right, folks. We're going to take a quick break here and thank some of our producers. Because we're on the value for value model. No advertising, no affiliate code, no corporate money. We take zero corporate money whatsoever. And that's because, when you start taking corporate money, there's all sort of incentives incentives and expectations where you end up serving the corporation more than you serve your listeners. And you consider your listeners, your audience, in our case, our producers, as a commodity to be traded off for our own financial gain. And it's just not the way that the future of independent media should be. It's not how the present of independent media should be. Unfortunately, it's not easy, and it's not very stable, and it is what it is. More than anything, the whims of the economic controllers and the geopolitical controllers have effects over the value for value system that we wouldn't expect. So in that case, I just want to take a second and thank everybody for supporting the show in all the ways that you do. You can do it with your time, your talent, or your treasure. And if you'd like to become a financial producer of the show, you can head on over to CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
Yep, all sorts of cool ways to support the show over there. And we need it. It's the only way that we can do what we do, unless, I guess we could start doing advertisements for waffles and stuff like
everybody loves waffles.
Like Ben Shapiro.
Everybody loves waffles.
But we're not going to do that anytime soon. But it is our responsibility to continue to provide as much value as possible. And in return, our producers provide value back because it's the only way that the big wheel keeps on turning. Gonz, are you ready to thank our producers?
Yeah, let's get some executive producers up in here.
Okay. Yeah, That's right. Our executive producers are those producers who get so much value out of the show that they come in and really save the day, keeping us going. And I'm sorry, Gonz. I'm sorry to disappoint. There's no executive producers today. Don't need to go too much into it. But yes. I know. Well, after having getting that little win that we did last episode, sometimes you got to expect the pendulum to swing the other way.
Well, as a long-time crypto investor, the ups and downs, the volatility, I'm used to it. I'm here for. I'm good for it. Buy the dip.
Spoken like a true investor.
A true DJ.
There you go. No executive producers. Thank you, Gonzo, for playing the jingle.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have a supply drop producer.
Excellent. Oh, so quiet.
Supply drop. That's right. CanaryCry.Supply.com is a wonderful place. You can support the show, commit to supporting the show, in fact, for $33.33 a month. And if you do, when you do, you'll be signed up to receive 4 packages of custom, single-run, awesome products created by producers of the show. There's art by your favorite artists. There's amazing work gets put into these things, and it's really, really a treasure. It's a little treasure trove of treasures that Canary Cry listeners and producers will enjoy. And we have one supply dropper today, Gonz, and that is the Edge Skate School.
Ooh, thank you.
Yeah.
The Edge Skate School. Well, I wonder if it's real skate school there.
Well, I don't know. But thank you very much. They sign up for the $33.33 plus fees a month, and we're very appreciative.
Thank you very much.
And just an update there, the manufacturing issues that we had delaying the supply drop have been resolved, and things are moving, people. So supply droppers, keep an eye out. We will let you know when they are on their way.
Yep. And
and that's it.
I'm digging away at this little tutorial thing for our NFTs, so that'll be coming your way as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There you go. All right. Waiting for the supply drop. Man, there's some haters in the chat today, Gonz.
Yeah,
Maybe we do need to. Yeah.
What's new?
Okay, well, we've got some more producers to thank here, and I see a couple more in the email box. I will get to those at the end of the list. But we're going to start thanking producers, starting with producer Jan S.
Thank you, Jan S. Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. And Jan S. comes in with $50.46.
All right, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Oh, let's see here. I was going to see if we had an email. We do, but it's a link to Watch the Water. There we go. We'll check it out. Of course.
Another one.
Yeah.
We're getting that a lot.
Next up, we've got Sir Scott Knight of Truth on a 100 big day, 133 episode streak.
Well, yes, they call him the street.
Best thing on 2 feet.
Yeah. You've reached the streak level. Now we have 2 the streaks. How fun. Thank you very much, Sir Scott Knight of Truth. Comes in for $13.33 and a note. 133. Can't believe this is my 133rd episode in a row. Keep up the great work, guys. Yesterday was my birthday. Turned 44. Ooh.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Sir Scott.
And I think we have a 133 streak we got to play for him.
Ooh. Wait,
no.
What?
The streak number one.
The streak number. Oh, yes. Okay, hold on. Let me. Wait, where? I don't have 100. That is the 133 thing that I have here on my board.
I don't think so. It must not have made it on the board. Yeah, this is the one we had made for when Sir Casey hit 133.
Oh, it should be in here then. I don't know why it would be gone. Let me go back into my files here.
Oh, we should play that new jingle.
Which one?
The time-filling jingle. Did you see that one?
Distraction one?
Yes, the distraction.
It's not long enough, but here.
Okay.
Stall for 5 seconds.
Here
we go.
133 is all about spiritual enlightenment. It is all about surrendering to the divine. 133 is sending you a guiding light.
There we go. Wow, that stall jingle worked out perfectly. We'll be thanking the producer
Thank
of that.
you. Stall jingle. We'll thank all the producers for that stuff.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Scott, for keeping the show going. Next up, Gonz, we have Puddin22.
Puddin22.
Yeah, coming in with 1111 plus fees. 11. Easter blessings to you both. He is risen, and it's Friday. Meow, meow, meow. Puddin22.
It's Friday, It's Friday,
Thank you very much, Puddin22.
Thank you, Puddin22.
Next up, we've got producer Morv, 76 episodes in a row coming in.
Are you sure
1111.
76?
No, Gonz, you are correct to question that because it is 77 episodes in a row. You've done it. You've reached perfection, Morv. Thank you so much for your continued support.
Thank you, Morv.
Next up, we've got Sir JC, Knight of the Techno Squatch, coming in for a 92 episode streak. Yes.
1001. Amen.
Amen. And let's see here. Sir JC, I believe, had a note. Let's see what that said. It says this. Hey, guys. Hope you have a good Friday, day.
It's Friday, day.
Keep playing with the Friday thing. Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Ooh. Gabby is asking, oh no, who is it? Oh, this is John. JFig is asking if we have the new Friday jingle. One of the short ones.
That was the short one. There's like a short version of the old one. But then there's this.
We have a short version. Oh, yeah.
It's Friday.
Nice. Speaking of which, we have Jonathan F. coming in producing the show.
Oop, sorry.
Thank you.
There you what? Hey.
Whee!
There you go, Jonathan F. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Indeed. Thank you. I did not see a note from Jonathan F. Let me see here.
He's got some audio production later on too. So
yeah, coming in with $9.92. Sorry, when these producerships come in during the show, it's hard for me to collect all the details here. Kind of have to do it live.
Sure.
Next up, we've got Lady Chrome. Yeah, Lady
She's
Chrome comes in.
A 2-episode streak at the least.
She is on a 2-episode streak.
She's on a streak.
Women rule.
Looking out for you, Lady Chrome.
Yeah, somebody's gotta. And Lady Chrome comes in with a pocket full of 7s. Thank you, Lady Chrome.
Thank you, Lady Chrome.
Let's see. Next, we got Alex G.
Alex Jones.
Alex Gonz. Alex Gonz comes in for a pocket full of 7s, and that's a monthly recurring producership. Thank you very much, Alex.
Thank you, Alex G. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, Jonathan F's producership was $9.33.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah. Jonathan F. That's for you, buddy.
And that concludes. Wait, let me check the list. We got, we got some more here. We got, this is hard. There's no notes. This one is Draw M. Thank you very much, Draw M, coming in with a pocket full of 7s plus fees.
Pocket full of 7s, okay.
I think.
Just adding that on the list there.
Yeah, trying to do.
Draw M, like drawing a picture?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Draw M.
Thank you very much. I I think that's it. I think we did it. Okay.
All right.
But that concludes our list of producers who came in for 777 or more. But we got a couple more to thank, starting with Sir Casey the Shield Knight on a 143 episode streak.
143. My goodness. You are the streak.
Fast thing on 2 feet.
And next we have Jackie Yu on a 48 episode streak.
Jackie Yu.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
Next up, we've got first streak sister, Gail M. on a 109 episode streak.
Women rule!
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gail M.
Yes, now we have the second streak sister, Veronica D. on the same 109 streak.
Women rule!
Thank you, Gail.
And last but not
Veronica
least, we got producer Runk Smash on a 21 episode streak. Yeah, that's actually... No. This is 22 episodes streak.
Okay, I was going to say, we did play the thing last episode, I thought. So, okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Runk Smash.
There we go. That concludes our list of financial producers. Thank you all so much for coming in and sharing in the value for value model. It's the only way that it works, and it is going a long way to preserve independent media into the future. So let's see. There you go. Thank you for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message!
That almost had you.
If you want to leave us a voice message, go to CanaryCryNewsTalk.com. There's a green tab. Click on it. Leave us a message. It's good times. Who do we got, Gonz?
We got a couple messages that we got today. The first one is from Magoo.
Basil and Gonz. This song is dedicated to Magoo's 9-year-old niece who loves listening to Canary Cry jingles and all Canary Cry nieces. Melanie. Melzo, Melanie. Her name is Melanie. Melzo, Melanie. Melanie the Great.
Wow.
Quite the
Lucky
range,
Melanie.
Magoo.
Yeah,
Lucky Melody,
such range. Cool.
That's it. There you go. That's from Magoo.
I love it.
Yeah.
I hope Melanie hears it. And is it Melanie or Melody?
I think it's Melanie.
That's what I thought.
Like
Okay.
Me, yeah.
There you go. Shout out to Melanie.
What's up, Melanie?
Good job being
Magoo's
related to Magoo.
related to Magoo.
Somehow.
Seems to be an interesting adventure over there. So
I
congrats.
Bet. Yeah.
All right.
Who do we got
thank
next?
you, Magoo. Thanks for keeping that punchy, too. Appreciate that. We got another one here from Rochelle.
Happy Friday, my feather Canarians. Nissan 15. This year is the same day as Good Friday, April 15th, otherwise known as Tax Day. Coincidence? Well, never mind the spiritual powers behind the curtain. Let me tell you about some significant biblical events that happened on this day, Nissan 15. The Exodus. Also, John the Baptist was born. Think of him as the spirit of Elijah. And Jesus began 3 days and nights in the grave, starting on the evening of the 14th. Then some of the biblical events that occurred 3 days later on Nissan 17, this year, April 17, Resurrection Sunday. Noah's Ark lands on dry ground. The children of Israel come up out of the Red or Reed Sea. Think of the Ark or baptism. The Egyptian army also died. Pay attention, this was on the 4th watch. In a different century on the same day, Haman is executed. If you know the story of Esther, you know, such a time as this. Also, a decree in favor of the Jews was instituted on Nissan 17. Most importantly, Jesus was resurrected. Also on the 4th watch. Hallelujah!
There you go.
That's fun. That was very educational.
Hallelujah.
That was great.
Yeah, a lot of good info. Thank you very much, Rochelle.
Thank you, Rochelle. That does it for the messages. Appreciate all the messages, everybody. And I think that's it. It's time for us to come out of the break and say bye to YouTube, I suppose. Let's say bye.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, what's happening? Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure?
Go to Twitch, Rumble, Odysee, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is. You can find all those links at CanaryCry.Party as well.
Too hot for YouTube.
YouTube. Now you see me. Now you don't.
And that's a goodbye to all you YouTubers out there. Find us on another platform to keep up with the rest of the show. Bye.